Hey there everyone and welcome to another reaction video. And yeah, this ugly mug. Anyway, today we will be reacting to something I randomly found yesterday, like while just refreshing my suggested page every so often. It is Why It Sucks to Be Born as a Tarnished. I thought, Elden Ring, why not? You know? Funny enough, I think yesterday also started again in the game with like a completely fresh character. And let me tell you, low-level invasions are so full of twinks. I literally had a guy invade me. Mind you, that was at level 23 at that point. Who quite literally wore an item that you only get for defeating the final boss in the DLC. Yeah. Needless to say, that wasn't supposed to happen. Or someone dropped it for him, but still, that's still a twink. Anyway, let's get on with the video.
You wake up in a crypt, surrounded by the stench of death and failure. Congratulations, you're a Tarnished.
True.
What's a Tarnished, you ask? Well, imagine being so good at your job that the universe itself kicked you out of the lands between, slapped a graceless sticker on your forehead, and told you, we'll call you when we need you.
Aww.
But now, for reasons unknown, Grace has decided to swipe right on you. Does this mean you're special?
No.
It just means you're the
Oh,
latest
fuck.
contestant in Who Wants to Die Repeatedly
This is
for
a
some
Souls
cosmic
game.
being's cause. Your first challenge? A tutorial boss called the Grafted Scion.
Yeah,
It's an
and
abomination
believe
of
me,
limbs, swords, and
satisfying
self-esteem
once you
issues.
finally kill it
Naturally, it kills
in the
you in
second
one hit, but
attempt.
don't worry, this is from software. Dying
Not really.
isn't the end, it's the start
Depends
of
on
a
what class
beautiful,
you play, actually.
masochistic relationship.
That's
After
true.
your humiliating defeat, you respawn in a tomb that screams budget funeral home. A ghostly voice whispers cryptic nonsense about grace and destiny, but you're too busy wondering why your armor looks like it was looted from a medieval yard sale. Finally, you step outside and bam, the land's in between. It's gorgeous, it's vast, and it's filled with things that want to kill you. A hulking tree sentinel on
Hey,
a golden
buddy,
horse
new
stands
here.
nearby, daring you to approach. Do you, 1, charge in heroically, 2, run away screaming, number 3, accidentally aggro it and die in 2 hits? If you
Accidentally
chose
aggro it
option
and
3,
die in 2
congratulations, you're playing this life correctly. Eventually, you stumbled upon the first NPC, Whiteface Vare. He greets you with, "Ah, a Tarnished are we?" Translation, "Wow, you look pathetic." He tells you about the Elden Ring, the Air Tree,
Maidenless.
and something about fingers. It's weird. Everyone here is really into fingers. Then Melina shows up, ethereal and mysterious, offering you a deal. She'll help you, but only if you agree to carry her everywhere like some medieval Uber. You say yes, partly because you're desperate and partly because Torrent, her spectral horse, looks awesome. What she doesn't mention, Grace isn't just a guide, it's the greater will's way of manipulating you into fixing its mess. Armed with a rusty
Essentially.
sword, a rickety shield, and a questionable sense of purpose, you set off into the world. You're broke, clueless, and about to die more times than you can count. Welcome to the lands between, Tarnished. You're gonna love it here.
No, you don't.
Still licking your wounds from the tree sentinel encounter, you wander aimlessly until you stumble upon the Church of Ellen. This is your first taste of civilization, though calling it that feels generous. Inside, you meet Kale, a merchant who looks like he's one bad deal away from bankruptcy. He sells you a crafting kit
And
and
he
soap
looks like
because
Santa.
even in the world of cosmic horror, hygiene is important. But before you can question why this
That's
guy's name
actually a
sounds like a
legit item in
salad
the game.
ingredient, a blue-haired woman named Ronnie shows up. She
Waifu.
hands you the spirit calling bell, allowing you to summon spectral allies. She's cryptic, aloof, and definitely knows more than she's letting on. Classic From Software NPC energy. Spoiler, she doesn't. Not yet, anyway. Just when you're starting to get the hang of this whole wandering peasant in a death world thing, Melina shows up again. She's still mysterious, and this time she offers you a deal. Take her to the Air Tree, and she'll give you the ability to level up. You agree, partly because you're desperate for power, and partly because,
Yeah.
why not? Just look at that horse.
Yeah.
Armed with your
That
new
horse
steed
is
and a
amazing.
vague sense of purpose, you follow the glowing rays of grace. These act as your GPS, leading you toward your first major objective, Stormvale Castle.
Just Google it.
Along the way,
guide,
you encounter
dude.
a mix of grotesque monsters, cryptic NPCs, and the realization that they weren't kidding about being really into fingers. Stormvale is a sprawling fortress ruled by Godric the Grafted. a demigod with an unhealthy fascination for DIY limb enhancement. As you fight your way through traps, enemies, and enough lore to fill a wiki,
honestly.
you begin to understand the stakes. The Elden Ring isn't just a shiny object, it's the blueprint for reality itself,
shiny.
shattered and scattered among power-hungry demigods.
My
When you
precious,
finally confront
no.
Godric, he does what any self-respecting megalomaniac would. Chops off his own arm and replaces it with a dragon's head, because why not? After a grueling battle, you emerge victorious. You've taken your first great rune, a shard of the Elden Ring, and it feels like the universe itself is whispering, "Not bad, kid. Now do it 5 more times." Defeating Godric is a turning point. You're no longer just a clueless Tarnished, you're a Tarnished with a purpose.
Yep.
And that purpose? To collect the great runes, restore the Elden Ring, and decide the fate of the lands between. But don't get cocky, this is only the beginning, and the lands between still has plenty of ways to humble you.
Oh, yeah.
With Godric's defeat behind you, you're feeling confident. Maybe
True.
too confident, but the lands between isn't about to roll out a red carpet. Instead, it's rolling out a parade of horrors. Fire-spewing chariots, dragons with a vendetta, and NPCs with more red flags than a toxic ex. As you
Oh,
venture
no.
out, the true scale of the lands
Oh,
between
no.
hits you. Limgrave was just the kiddie pool. Now you're diving into places like Liurnia of the Lakes, a vast expanse of water, magic, and regret. Here you meet the Academy of Rhea Lucaria. The Academy's leader, Renala, is a powerful sorceress with a tragic backstory and a knack for hurling moon magic at your face. Beating her feels less like a victory and more like surviving an abusive physics class. But it's not all doom and gloom. Along the way, you
Aw.
start to gather allies,
The one in the
or
red
at least
hood is
people
good.
who tolerate you. Blade, the wolf-headed warrior, becomes your bro for life. And then there's Ronnie, the mysterious witch who offers you a questline so convoluted it might as well come with a flowchart. Your primary mission becomes clear. Collect all the great runes, each is guarded by a demigod, and each demigod has enough personal baggage to fill a therapy office. Radon, the
One way to
Star
describe it,
Scourer,
yeah.
a giant warrior with gravity-defying powers and a tragic backstory.
Yeah.
He's literally holding the stars in place. His festival of combat is less a battle and more a battle royale where everyone dies. Morgoth, the Omen King. Godric's less embarrassing relative who guards the capital with all the fervor of a mall cop on steroids. Rykard,
Malkuth on
Lord of Blasphemy.
steroids.
He fed himself to a giant snake because subtlety isn't in his vocabulary. The lands
No
between
doubt.
is also full of characters who range from vaguely helpful to outright homicidal. Patches, a recurring troll who alternates between robbing you and pretending to be your friend. D, Hunter of the Dead, a grim figure with a grudge against anything undead. Spoiler, things don't end well for him.
Yeah,
Thea,
no.
Deathbed Companion. She offers to hold you but drains your health in the
Hugs.
process. It's the most toxic relationship you'll ever agree to. These characters add depth to the world, but they also remind you that trust is a luxury you can't afford.
Yeah, the
But
troll
hey,
face for
you've got Torrent,
patches
a
there.
glowing sword, and the determination of someone who's died 200 times and keeps coming back for more. What could possibly go wrong?
A lot
With
of
a
shit.
few great runes in your pocket and a growing list of demigod therapy bills in your wake, you press forward, starting to feel like a little more like someone who can actually get this
man.
Elden Lord gig done. Spoiler, you're wrong. The lands
Yep.
between isn't finished humbling you yet.
Not
First
yet.
on the chopping block, Star Scourge Radon, the biggest boy on the block. Literally, Radon is a walking mountain who somehow still rides his childhood pony, Leonard. It's not cute, it's tragic. The Scarlet Rot,
Bordering
a gift from
on
Millennia,
animal
in their
abuse,
clash has
actually.
eroded his mind, his body,
In my
and most of
opinion.
his common sense, leaving him a feral
If it
beast
wasn't
with
for the
gravity
gravity
magic
magic.
strong enough to hold the literal stars hostage. You're invited to the Radon Festival, which sounds fun until you realize that Festival in the Lands Between is just code for Suicide Pact. Warriors from across the world have gathered, not to fight with you, but to create a chaotic distraction while you desperately dodge meteors and figure out how to land a hit on Radon without becoming medieval roadkill. After what feels like hours of
Fair.
dying, regrouping, and questioning your life choices, you finally take him down. The stars resume their celestial dance, and you bask in the victory until you remember that you've only just started.
Yeah.
Next up, Praedor Rykard, who apparently woke up one day and thought, you know what would go great with my god complex? A giant snake. He fed himself to said snake, transforming into a grotesque hybrid. Armed with a serpent hunter spear, that's literally what it's called, you stab, dodge, and cheese your way to victory. Then there's Morgoth, the Omen King, the capital's grumpy gatekeeper. If Godric was the embarrassing cousin everyone pretends doesn't exist, Morgoth is the sibling who gets all the work done but never gets the appreciation. His golden weaponry and relentless aggression make him a tough opponent. but you manage to take him down.
And you
In
fight
true
him a
From
total of
Software
3
fashion,
times, though.
his dying breath isn't gratitude or regret, but pure, unfiltered spite. Classic. And then the walking biohazard, Melania, Blade of Miquella. If Radon was a walking disaster, Melania is an elegant apocalypse. Her Haligtree domain is a labyrinth of rot, despair, and enemies designed solely to make you scream into a pillow. She's got a move, Waterfowl Dance, that turns every fight into a high-stakes guessing game of, will I die instantly? Her Scarlet Rot infects the battlefield, a reminder
Wait, I
that
can
even
do
in
it.
defeat, she takes you
I
down
can
with her.
solo her.
After countless retries, you emerge victorious.
Not
She
bad,
transforms
kid.
into a giant flower and
Aww.
calmly reminds you that she is undefeated because she blooms.
A fun fact, actually, in one of my playthroughs, I actually got help from either this guy or someone cosplaying as him, and they did a no-hit run on Melania. Like, goddamn. One of my Elden Ring streams where I actually fought Melania anyway. Anywho.
Again and again. You're not sure whether to feel inspired or call it quits. But as you pocket their great runes, a question looms. Are you really fixing the world, or are you just another
No.
pawn in the greater will's cosmic game of who wants to be a puppet?
Very
With the
likely,
great
actually.
runes in hand and your growing kill count making you the Lands Between's least popular house guest, the weight of your journey begins to settle. But just as you think you're starting to make sense of this broken world, the truth sucker punches you. Your next destination is the Forge of the Giants, a fiery hellscape where you're tasked with burning the Erd Tree. Why? Because apparently your carefully curated collection of great runes isn't enough to break the Greater Will's grip. You need to barbecue the sacred tree at the heart of the Golden Order's power. But this isn't just a routine case of arson. To light the forge, someone has to sacrifice themselves. Enter Melina, your cryptic travel companion and the closest thing you've got to a moral compass. She offers to immolate herself, and you're left with a choice. Let her go through with it, or embrace the frenzied flame and burn the world your way. But
Meh.
you start to wonder, is this truly your choice, or is it the greater will pulling the strings? Letting Melina go through with it feels like submitting to destiny, while embracing the frenzied flame is an act of rebellion so extreme it could torch the Lands Between and your very identity. Either way, you decide whether to let this woman burn herself. I hope you can live with yourself. You need to know what it is to make the choice, you say? Well, the frenzied flame is an outer god that's basically the chaotic evil cousin of the greater will. Where the Golden Order wants to impose its rigid structure, the frenzied flame offers freedom by burning everything and everyone to ash. But freedom nonetheless.
Pretty
If
much.
you choose to reject the flame and let Melina sacrifice herself, the Erd Tree burns and the Golden Order's influence begins to wane. This clears the way for you to enter crumbling Farum Azula, a floating ruin locked in eternal storms. Here the
Yep.
mysteries of destined death are revealed. You face off against Malekith, the loyal guardian of the Rune of Death, who spent eons keeping mortality under lock and key. Then comes the Haligtree,
That's
long
kind of
thought to
the
be
boss
Miquella's
fight,
failed
essentially.
rebellion, but is revealed to be more than just a sanctuary for the cursed and the misbegotten. It's part of his master plan to usurp the Greater Will entirely. You uncover that Miquella's disappearance wasn't a simple kidnapping by Mog. It was part of Miquella's scheme to manipulate his bloodthirsty half-brother into advancing his own ascension into godhood. So Mog did beat the allegations. Miquella's motives become clearer and darker.
Yeah, that's true. Mog did beat the Moog did beat the allegations. Why do you think one of the Why do you guys think one of the nicknames for the DLC is Moog beats the allegations DLC? uh,
He wasn't just building a paradise, he was constructing a prison
this
for
one actually
free
looks pretty
will,
cool.
using his abilities to bend others to his vision of perfection. And you, the Tarnished, have been unknowingly walking into his endgame.
oh
As
no.
you piece together these
Anyway.
revelations, one thing becomes painfully clear. The greater will, the demigods, the outer gods, they're all playing their own games, and you are the chess piece everyone wants to control. Even Marika, the enigmatic god who shattered the Elden Ring, begins to look less like a savior and more like a tragic tale. You march toward the final showdown with the growing realization that this journey isn't just about restoring the Elden Ring, it's about deciding whose vision of the world deserves to win, or if any of them do. At this point, you've burned the Erd Tree, acquired the Rune of Death, and left enough carnage behind to make even the most hardened warriors question your sanity. But now, as the Lands Between smolder and crack under your footsteps, it's time to confront the final truths. You make your way to the Ashen capital, formerly Leyendell, now buried under the weight of fire and ruin.
Thanks
The
to you burning
grandeur
the
of
tree,
the
of
Golden
course.
Order is reduced to dust, its knights broken, and its last defenders little more than shadows of their former selves. The first obstacle is Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. Yes, he's back, and this time he's ditched the regal Golden Daddy look for a full-on primal rage mode as Hora Lu. Imagine your dad at a barbecue, except instead of flipping burgers, he's flipping you into the ground repeatedly while screaming about being the apex predator. Or maybe not, if this gives
Well,
war flashbacks for some of you. Turns out
he does
Godfrey
spike you
wasn't
into
just
the ground
Marika's
like a
arm
football,
candy,
though.
he was her enforcer, the OG Elden Lord, who kept things in line before everything went sideways. And what now? He's here to remind you that he still got it. Defeating Godfrey clears the path to the Erdtree's heart, where the shattered remains of Marika and her counterpart Radagon await. Or should we say, her other half? Because surprise, Marika and Radagon aren't just partners, they're two halves of the same being. Yup, the Greater Will looked at the idea of Self-Crest and said, perfect, ship it. And you're left thinking, at least they aren't brother and sister like some other possible couple in this game. I'm kidding, you're actually left thinking.
Well,
Does this mean
actually,
you've been fighting one god with severe identity?
the man, I'm gonna sound stupid here, but Radon and Mikela are both guys, so you know.
Issues, or two gods who can't decide who gets custody of the Elden Ring. I'm kidding again, you don't really get the chance to think a lot before Radagon starts hammering away at you.
That's true.
Radagon, furious and glowing with divine energy, unleashes his full power. Just as you start to think you've won, the Greater Will pulls out its final card, the Elden Beast. A celestial nightmare
does it
made of
have a
stars,
butt?
divine order, and your deepest insecurities.
Why did that drawing have a
The
butt?
Elden Beast isn't just a fight, it's the universe's final middle finger.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you think you're hot stuff
Agreed.
because you made
The
it this
final
far,
middle
meeting my
finger of the
glowing
game.
space fish. You realize this thing isn't just a boss, it's the embodiment of the Greater Will's control. But hey, you didn't come this far to let a star-powered koi pond stop you. So, armed with sheer determination and maybe a healthy dose of rage after dying 200 times to Melania, you
Oh, yeah.
landed the final blow. Congratulations, you've officially ticked off the cosmos, but your journey isn't over.
Ticked
With
off
the Elden Ring in
cosmos.
ruins and Marika's reign at the end, you're
Ah.
presented with a choice, or rather, a series of moral dilemmas disguised as endings. Number 1, Age of Fracture. The default ending. You slap the
Yeah.
Elden Ring back together like you're fixing a leaky faucet and become Elden Lord. The Golden Order is restored, the lands between size and relief, and nothing fundamentally changes. It's like cleaning up after a wild party. Everything looks fine, but the smell lingers.
Until
Number 2, Age of Duskborn. You followed Fia, let her cuddle you, and now you're fixing the death problem. You use the Mending Rune of the Death Prince to restart the life-death cycle, breaking the immortality curse. It's peaceful, it's poetic, and it makes you wonder, was all the murder really necessary? Yes it was.
oh yeah,
Number
definitely.
3, Blessing of Despair. You aligned with the Dung Eater, which says more about you than it does about the lands between. The Mending Rune of the Fell Curse ensures the world is plunged into endless despair. Imagine being crowned king only to doom your descendants to eternal suffering. Though the modern equivalent would be just birthing a kid in this economy. Number 4, Age of Order. By solving Gold Mask's cryptic puzzles and completing Brother Corhin's questline, you unlock the Mending Ruin of Perfect Order. This ending smooths out the inconsistencies of the Golden Order, creating a world of peace and structure. It's the neat freak dream. No chaos, no anomalies, just orderly harmony. The lanes between gets a glow up, and you get to feel smug about fixing what Marika broke. Just don't think too hard about how culty Perfect Order sounds. Number 5, Lord of Frenzied Flame. Burn it all, no gods, no kings, just ashes. Embrace chaos and become the physical embodiment of the frenzied flame, ensuring that the world will never again be ruled by the divine tyranny, or anything else for that matter. Number 6, Age of the
Yeah.
Stars. The Rani ending. You ditch the Greater Will and the lands between
The
entirely,
waifu ending,
joining
you
Rani
mean?
in her quest to become a cosmic goddess. It's the most romantic ending, sure, but
Aw.
also the most confusing. Do you rule the stars now? Are you a celestial sidekick? Whatever it is, you've officially ghosted the lands between. And that's it. The world is broken, again, but hey, at least it's not your problem anymore. Roll credits, cause you did it, Tarnished. You either saved the lands between, doomed it to eternal suffering, or yeeted yourself into the cosmos with your blue doll wife. Either way, your name will go down in history, or at least in the angry rant of every
bastard.
NPC you accidentally killed along the way. Now go touch some grass. Literally, the Erdtree's ashes are everywhere.
All right, that one was funny. I'll admit that one was very funny. Yeah, sorry, I have to stretch here for a bit. I'm old, alright? uh, but yeah, that one was funny to watch. Uh, I mean, yeah, I would assume that all the um, demigods have enough baggage to fill a psychiatrist's office. Yeah. Hell, I think it would be breaking at the seams with just one. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the reaction video here. I did, obviously, because obviously I do like playing Elden Ring and stuff. So, but anyway, if you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like. Would be greatly appreciated. And if you and if you feel like checking out some of my other stuff, feel free to subscribe or at least have a look on my channel before you do so, because some of the stuff I anyway, again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.